Hi, my name is Ashley Thompson. I am a blessed daughter of God, a wife, a mother, a best-selling author, a life coach, a teacher, and a New Testament leader. This is my story of overcoming insecurity through the power of God's love. When I was in high school, I learned that I was a whoops baby, as in I was not planned. And later, how that affected me on a subconscious level. I want to share Psalm 8:4, which reads, "What are mere mortals that you should think about them? Human beings that you should care for them." God showed me a vision of heaven and how He created me. I wasn't planned, as I mentioned before. I was a oops baby. Even more so, I was born a girl when everyone expected me to be a boy. To make matters worse, my mother had really wanted a boy. She had suffered a miscarriage of her firstborn son, and she had already had 2 daughters. The doctor told her, up until the time of my birth, that I was a boy. My parents were thrilled, and they even had a boy name picked out for me. This news came to me in increments. I remember the first time my mother told me this, she kind of told me that I wasn't planned. I didn't believe her, so I asked her to confirm that. And she confirmed it and said, "Well, yes, that's true." She said in a very hesitant tone, "Your sister was very little, Ashley, and I didn't want to have another baby so soon. But we love you. What else could I have done after I found out that I was pregnant?" And I thank God that my mom values life and that she knew that, when I was in her womb, that I was alive. And so I thank God for a believing mother. After she told me this, I kind of laughed it off. I was like, I wasn't planned, but that doesn't really matter because I know you love me. And my mom never did anything that I can remember ever that would have said that I wasn't loved. Later, though, I found out more behind this story. I want to emphasize that little comments can be used by the enemy of our souls to sow doubt and fear and insecurity and a sense of being less than without us even knowing that. And so I remember another comment where my mother told me that I was her most painful child. My birth was not easy for her, and she said that her feet got bigger after I was born. One time I was sitting at the table with my dad, and my mom was in the kitchen, and my dad told me, "Your mom was upset after you were born." And my mom just kind of was like, "Oh, stop, like stop it." And then I kind of said, "What? Like why?" This is where I learned that she really wanted a son and that I'm obviously not a boy. And so he filled me in and said, "This happened. She was told that you were a boy. And then when you came out a girl, she was upset." He said that when he visited her after I was born, I wasn't in the room with her and that her face showed disappointment. He said that he went to go see me in the room for the newborns and he held me. Then he went back to her and she was angry and he told her, "Be happy. We have a healthy baby girl. I know that you wanted a boy, but this baby has 10 fingers and 10 toes. Be thankful." After he told me this, I turned to my mom and I said, "Is this true?" And she got very, very quiet and she did not answer me. And so I could tell she did not want to talk about it. And so I didn't press her. Before this, I had learned that my mom wanted 2 boys and 1 girl. and instead she has 3 girls and 1 son. Also, growing up, I heard some comments from my sisters that my grandfather on my dad's side didn't fully accept my mother until she had my brother. Our first experience of love for most of us comes from our father and mother. And God has so formed our hearts to soak in love. And so for me, I sensed rejection from my mother on a subconscious level. And it was very, very deep. And so when I was a teenager, like early on, I would eat and eat and eat. I dealt with depression and I never felt comfortable in my skin, but I didn't know why. I would hide my body in frumpy boys' clothes. So I wore flannel shirts from the men's department and dark jeans. I hated wearing skirts or dresses or anything that was girly because I didn't accept myself as a girl or as a person. I had horrible insecurity. As a child, I played with my brother and I didn't really engage in girl talk with my sisters. Every boy that had ever showed me interest, I would push away because I didn't think that I was beautiful. One day, when I was 16, I accepted Christ into my heart. It was a wonderful, life changing, life giving, amazing day. I grew up in church and I talked to God, but I didn't fully accept His love for me because I didn't think that I was worthy of it. I didn't think that I was beautiful enough for God. One morning, I woke up and I went on YouTube and I saw a video by Joyce Meyer called Your Self-Image and Your Future. I could feel the presence of the Lord in the room, and I wasn't exactly sure why, but as Joyce Meyer talked, the power of the Holy Spirit just filled the place. Joyce quoted many, many scriptures on God's love and how He created everyone special and beautiful on purpose. I began to believe that God loved me as she spoke, and I broke down and I cried and I raised my hands and I completely gave my life to Him. And then I had a very supernatural experience where I looked up and I saw what looked like rain coming through the ceiling and it was full of light. And then I felt the presence of Jesus enter my heart like a cloud of peace, and I was changed and born again right then and there. Later, God came after that place in my heart where I felt like I should have been a boy. One morning, I was reading a wonderful, wonderful book by Dr. Charles H. Kraft called Deep Wounds, Deep Healing. As my eyes scanned the pages, a vision played. It was so real, it was like watching TV. And so my eyes were wide open, and all of a sudden, I saw heaven, and I saw these gorgeous clouds that like shone like gold. Then I saw this beautiful light from behind, and then in the front of the vision was God. And in his hand was this yarn that looked like a rainbow. It was clear but yet colorful. And he had this huge, huge smile on his face and this twinkle in his eyes. And then he began to knit and sew this person. And then he leaned over and he scanned the earth and he found my mom. And he put his hand with this beautiful person inside of her womb. I remember seeing this microscopic view of her womb. And then I saw these huge, huge hands that cradled me. And then I heard his voice through the amniotic fluid. And he spoke words of love over me like, I love you forever. I made you on purpose. You are so special to me. You are precious in my eyes. I made you a girl on purpose. His words coded me as I grew inside of her. Now, my dad had told me that my mom didn't hold me at first after I was born because she was, emotional and upset. And so that kind of played in my mind like my mom didn't hold me. So in the vision, I saw myself coming out of my mom's womb, and I saw these big, big hands, the hands of God waiting for me as I came out. And he picked me up and he took me to heaven with him. Then I saw Jesus and the Holy Spirit clapping and smiling and dancing and rejoicing over my birth. There's this beautiful verse in Zephaniah that says that God rejoices over you with gladness. He will quiet you with his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. And so the translation of that is that he will dance with joy. In this vision, I saw God dancing. He was so happy. I was cradled in his arms, and then slowly the vision left. I was so stunned afterward that I just sat there and I reflected on what God had shown me. God had completely covered and washed away the pained memory that was engraved in my self-conscious. It no longer mattered that my mother might not have wanted to cradle me close and long after my birth, because I saw God's hands were waiting for me the second that I was born. He wanted me. He had made me a woman on purpose. And I knew he wasn't responsible for any pain that I had experienced in life. Yet, despite his lack of fault, he wanted to heal the faults of others that had tore me within my tender heart. And he also healed the wounds that I inflicted upon myself by speaking ill of myself. In that vision, I saw God sew me together intricately. And that's what he wants to do with every fraying edge of your heart and of your life as well. That's what he wants to do with every torn or shredded place within your soul. He wants you to realize that you are a masterpiece, that you are special, that your life is unique and designed by his loving hands, that you were fashioned on purpose, and that he is pursuing you for your good because of his deep love for you. I just wanted to encourage you who are listening that no matter what wounds you may have on the inside, God is your everlasting cure. He will never withhold good from you. He delights in your wholeness and in your well-being. He is never the source of your pain, but he is your ever-present promise of healing. And I pray that you will understand your worth and value in his eyes,